Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ken, this is Phoenix Rising, and today we're talking about the SI joint. So I already hear what you're thinking. I know what you're wondering. What is the SI joint? Well, briefly, the SI joint stands for the sacroiliac joint, and it is located on either side of the hip bone. It's basically where the hips meet the spine, and it allows your hips to flex and deals with the load. It helps you in walking and all the fun stuff that it helps you out with. Apologies for the non-doctorial description. That is not who I am. We'll provide info in the links if you want to know more specifically about what the joint does. And the focus of this video is for those of you who are like me, who have suffered in the past with sacroiliitis or SI joint dysfunction. It's been known as well. So essentially, sacroiliitis is inflammation of the SI joint. And what can that then cause? Well, I'm so glad you asked, viewers, because I gotta drop this shtick. But I'm so glad that you asked. And I'll blame me for this. But basically what that means is that it causes pain. And how does that cause pain? Well, it mimics symptoms of other lower back injuries, if you will. So all I can do is speak from experience here, but in my case, it was misdiagnosed as sciatica because for the longest time it had affected my right side, just dealing with pain in the butt and shooting down into my leg until one day it just switched sides on me. And it was at that point that I thought, this doesn't seem like something that sciatica can do. Turned out I was correct, went to a physical therapist. They diagnosed it as SI joint dysfunction, gave me a bilateral injection of medicine, and then from there, I had no pain for about a month. So upon my return visit, they said, well, since this is it, we can give you stretches and sort of exercises that you can do to deal with the pain. However, most likely if it comes back, you're going to have to be dependent upon injections of that medicine. So I decided that at 31 years old, was I 31 or 32? Here I am in my old age. I believe I was 32 at the time. At 32 years of age, I did not believe that should be a thing that I had to go through. I figured if I got to this point, there's a way to reverse it. And that's what I want to share with you all today. These are the 4 things that I do, not on a daily basis, but a semi-regular basis. If I start feeling tightness or pain of any sort, these are the 4 things that I do to deal with that pain. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the quad stretch. This is just your standard stretch of the quad muscle, which is the front part of your leg, if you're unaware. And basically that just involves you you start off with the left side, take your right hand, put it fingertips against the wall, take your left leg, bend it back, stand straight up, of course, take your left hand, wrap it around the top of your left foot / ankle on the front and just pull back and keep your legs straight, keep your body straight, pull that back towards the butt. You will feel that pull in the quad and you'll feel that nice deep stretch. Don't overdo it. Slow count to 60 and then switch. Take your left hand, put it completely straight out, fingertips against the wall. Grab your right foot with your right hand, pull back. Again, a slow count for 60. When you do this, it's going to stretch out the front. And this is very important because in the past I have actually had the pain do a very interesting thing where it seems to almost wrap around the leg and attack the knee. So that's what added this to my repertoire. Before, I was just doing the next 2 stretches that I will get into, but this is the most recent addition to my stretching but it's not the most recent addition to my routine. So then, let's get into stretch number 2. And stretch number 2 is the hamstring stretch. So to do this, quite simply, what you do is stand straight. I like to go ahead and cross my arms, putting my hands on the opposite shoulders. And then you just simply hinge at the hips and keep your chest up, your spine neutral, and bend down. Or arch forward, rather. And the reason that you do this, what this is going to do, is you're going to start to feel a nice pull at your hamstrings, which is the back part of the upper leg. Breathe into it. Again, do not do too much. Just keep arching forward and really trusting your body here, really trusting how intense that stretch is, and just let your body move into it. Let gravity pull you down. Again, slow count for 60. If you feel like you need to do more than just one set of this, by all means do that. Same goes for the quad stretch that I talked about a moment ago. So once you're done, just kind of, stand up, get a little loose. Feel how much better you'll feel after one or two of these stretches. It's actually night and day and amazing. And that leads us into the third and final stretch that I do for this particular issue that I had, and that is the calf stretch. So ideally, as you can see here in this clip, you will see that I use my mat, which is raised, and I put the balls of my foot on it to, kind of put my feet at a compromised position and give a deeper stretch in my calf as I bend over. When I bend and kind of touch my nose almost to this weight bench that I have. Typically what I'm doing is I am keeping my legs as straight as possible, but I am bending. I am kind of bending over and also leaning forward while trying to keep my feet as planted as possible in that compromised state. What that does is that really puts a fire in my calves and really tugs in a way that's super deep. I can feel this pulling all the way up into my butt in some instances, which kind of is eye-opening with how tight my calves were and still are to this day. So again, my goal here is to stay in this position with my head almost touching this bench, and I just kind of maintain this until I'm ready to move deeper, which then you'll see me sometimes grab the back of my ankles and kind of bend more down. I will then use my knuckles to try to gauge how deep I am. And then, of course, I follow up. And this is a good test once I am done with the stretch. I stand flat-footed. And I try to touch my palms to the floor just straight-legged. That's one thing that I really like to do. That tells me how loose that I am in the posterior chain, and that's very important for this overall health and to keep you in a healthy state there. But again, with this calf stretch, go ahead and do it for a slow count of 60 seconds for one phase, and then 60 seconds of another phase. That's typically how I handle it. And then again, if you feel like you need to do more, by all means, tailor it to what feels good for you and what feels right. The goal here is to feel better, not to overdo it and to hurt yourself, but to relieve all that pain. So those are the 3 stretches that I do, but I said I do 4 things. So the 4th thing is probably the most difficult thing for someone to learn, and that is the primal squat. So to perform the primal squat, or the Asian squat, or whatever you've heard it called, it has multiple names. What that basically is just standing feet shoulder width apart, drop down into a full squat, and you just sit in that position basically for 30 seconds, a minute, however long feels comfortable for you. There is no right answer here or wrong answer. Essentially, if you're doing it and feeling good about it, then that's what's important here. So to actually get to this point, is a little bit difficult. Again, refer to my mats here, and what I did to actually get good, as the kids say, is I actually kind of did the reverse that I do for my calf stretch. I would stand with my heels on the mat, and I would get down into the squatting position, and I would sit there. I know ankle mobility is a big thing, but this is also learning a new motor function. And as adults, it's been a long time since we've learned a new motor function, right? So this is something that we're not typically doing if we get into a squatting position like this. Usually we go up onto the balls of our feet, but getting down here and giving yourself some support behind your heels is really going to help you get used to being in that position. Just getting your body used to it. And once you've gotten used to this, and once this is easy, then go ahead and try to do it just on a flat surface. You might fall over a time or two. And in that case, if that's the case, then definitely move to doing it in shoes. Most shoes that we wear have larger heels, and we're not really in a flat-footed position. We have heel support, and the shoe's kind of at a slant, if you've noticed. So then in that case, if you do it in shoes, it's also much easier than doing it barefoot, but barefoot is the goal. Do what you can to work down into barefoot, and also be advised that this also can wreck your knees, so just be careful. Everything that you do here, you want to make sure that you're doing safely. And if you're brand new at it, definitely have something to hold on to. Or if you're comfortable doing it, just have some sort of support there. I know plenty of people that are much more fit than I am, that when they try to do this, they just fall right over. So one of those things, just bear in mind, keep your overall health in mind, and ultimately, guys, just remember that when doing these 4 things, the most important part is that you are staying healthy. You're doing something to feel good. You're not being too strenuous on your body. The goal here is to feel good, feel better, bring yourself relief from pain, and not hurt yourself in the process. With that in mind, I would like to go ahead and say that this is not everything that I do. This is about half of it. As I said, this is kind of what I do for a pre-workout stretch. And then I drop down into that squat for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds, depending on how I feel for the day. And then I follow that up with a routine that focuses on strengthening my hamstrings. I really should start focusing on the glutes more, but before, like a year and a half ago, when I first got my monkey feet, you've heard me talk about them a lot, and I'll actually show them to you and break them down here in a video soon. But back when I got the monkey feet, I could only hamstring curl probably 15 pounds for 20 reps. If I tried to do, back then I only had 15s, 25s, and 35s. If I tried to do the 35s, it was not even possible. So I had very weak hamstrings, which is what was also leading to the pain. And now I can single leg hamstring curl. There we go. It's a bit of a tongue twister. I can do that same exercise for 35 pounds with one leg for 12 reps for 3 sets. So it's just one of those things where it takes time. It took me time to identify the problem and to address it in steps. But we're going on, let's see, it's July right now. So we're going on almost 1 full year without any pain whatsoever, because it was last August, right after we'd moved into this apartment, that I was starting to have SI joint issues again. And it was because I hadn't worked out in about a month, because, COVID happened, the move, all this stuff, getting situated. But I wound up trial and error, learning how to do the primal squat, and also that was right around the time that I added the quad stretch into my routine as well. And that's going to do it for today's video. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. It means a lot. If you learned something or you feel like this information is valuable, please give the video a like and share. If you're new here, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. And also, if you have any questions, please feel free to send an email to askphoenixrising@gmail.com. I will be happy to address any and all specific questions there in a mailbag video if we get enough traction through that. So please send your questions. I will be more than happy to address them. My name is Ken. This has been Phoenix Rising, and remember to always embrace the light and spread the light. And I'll see you next time.